Hey yo, what's a chill with the Chico Army? And if you're new and you're looking for a YouTube crew, join ours by taking the first step, subscribing, and dropping that title of Viewer of the Tube. My name is Tyler and welcome to the channel whose content is always a mouthful. You know our Moby Richard. It's time for Chico Crypto. BTC, that shiny old Bitcoin, it hands down has the spotlight compared with altcoins. Dominance since the DeFi bubble burst in the summer has been growing and growing and growing, up to 64% dominance and getting close to 10 percentage points since the September 57% dominance low. So, will dominance continue and alts keep a falling? Personally, I don't really think so, because pulling out the 7-day Bitcoin price chart as of yesterday, we were looking to break 14K and we did. A break of this critical level will cause BTC FOMO as we break back into another level of unknown territory, where we have only spent 32 days above in the history of BTC, all the way back in 2017 and 2018. So if we stay above this 14K level into this unknown territory, will altcoins get wrecked and dominance fall? Well, I don't think so, because it has already happened and it's about time the altcoins get them moving. Why do I think this? Well, let's expand out the dominance chart since September of 2019, when BTC was at a dominance peak of about 71.5%. As you can see, it has been a downtrend with Bitcoin and dominance, although there has been cycles where BTC regained some of that dominance, although the chart shows a series of higher lows with dominance and BTC. So 71.5 September of 2019, and then 2 months later, November of 2019, we were down to about 67.5%, a loss of about 4%, but it rebounded to about 70.5% 1 month later, December of 2019. So that cycle, a 4% loss of dominance in 2 months, followed by a 3% rebound 1 month later. Moving on to the next cycle, 70.5% December 2019, and then 2 months later, February 2020, BTC was down to 63.5%, a loss of about 7%. But it rebounded to about 68% 3 months later, May of 2019. So that cycle, 7% loss over 2 months, followed by a 4.5% rebound 3 months later. Now this current cycle, 68% May of 2019, then about 4 months later, September, we hit the low of about 58%. We are coming up on about 2 months later since then, and dominance is about at 65%. So if dominance stops here, this cycle would be a 10% loss over 4 months with a rebound of 7% 2 months later. And that sounds about right to me. Regarding the cycles, Tyler has a feeling a mini alt season is about to begin, which can be reinforced by looking at the 1 hour largest gainers yesterday when BTC broke that 14K mark. Altcoins a surgeon and a surgeon, a really long list performing better, 75 better than Bitcoin to be exact. So, which alts are going to swallow up some of that Bitcoin dominance? Well, if you didn't hear yesterday, the deposit contract for the Ethereum 2.0 beacon chain, it went live. Finally, Ethereum 2.0 has a date of when the Genesis block begins. Before we get into when that is, what first is the deposit contract? Well, it's the first piece of Ethereum 2.0. It's the bridge between the proof of work chain and the staking beacon chain. It's just an Ethereum address. You can view it on block explorers, and looking at the transactions, those that are going to be staking, they are depositing their 32 ETH into the contract as I speak. 32 Ether? Yep, that is how much Ethereum is needed if you want to become a proof of stake validator node and earn staking rewards come December 1st. And I hope you realize right now is the time to pick up 32 ETH compared to a single BTC. So it costs right now only just over 12,800 bucks to obtain 32 Ethereum. And for that single BTC, it costs over $14,000. That is why you see the number of Ethereum addresses with a balance greater than 32 Ether surging over the past week. People, they are preparing for staking, thus a surge. But also people see an imbalance in the price between 32 ETH and 1 Bitcoin. So, pulling out the price charts of 1 Bitcoin versus 32 Ethereum, and beginning in March of this year, it was more cost effective to buy the 32 ETH. There was an imbalance, but by late July, that imbalance came back together, and the cost for each was about the same, about 10,000 bucks. But then we had the DeFi season this summer, and 32 Ethereum got out of balance, becoming worth more than 1 Bitcoin, over 15,000 bucks for the 32 at its peak, while BTC was just about 12K. So things came back into balance, Ethereum crashed, and in between September to early October, the prices matched each other. But another imbalance has begun, this time with BTC above 32 ETH, currently about 2,000 bucks above. My opinion is this: these two will be correlated with each other for the next year. Anytime one gets further above, you should be looking at the other, and vice versa. So right now, eyes are on Ethereum and that beacon chain launch. So I'm sure the next question you have is, when will blocks begin to be produced, and when will the stakers start receiving their staking rewards for depositing that 32 ETH and setting up a validator node? Well, Evan Van Ness, he tweeted, Ethereum's proof of stake launch, ETH2, scheduled for December 1st. So I hope you realize how freaking fast the next 25 days are going to fly by. December 1st will be here before we know it. The world is really distracted with a thing called an American election. So literally it's going to feel like we blink and December 1st is here. And I have a feeling 32 ETH will work itself up to being back in balance with the price of 1 Bitcoin in that time. So yeah, Ethereum is on the top of my altcoin list right now. But what else, Tyler? Well, many people can't accumulate 32 Ether, and they will still want to stake. So those coins involved with staking somehow in a decentralized manner are on the top of my list too. And guess what? Ethereum's beacon chain website kindly has a list of the top staking services, with a total of 15 listed. But there is only one with a token, that is Rocketpool. Now there is a reason RPL was one of my top recent picks, because any news about Ethereum 2.0 is going to push up the price. And yesterday's deposit news is proof of that. I didn't even talk about it and the price rocketed up with a nearly 20% 24-hour gain. Now the reason I like Rocketpool over all the other staking services is this. You go to the ETH Staker subreddit where anyone who is thinking about staking ETH is, and you search by Rocketpool within their community, you get a lot of talk going on, multiple posts. Now Stakefish has announced their beta for staking service. It's non-custodial too. Searching an ETH Staker by Stakefish, no space, nothing. Stakefish space, one post. Obviously not nearly as hyped as Rocketpool with those who will be actually using the services. Although there is one more service not linked on the Ethereum Beacon website, and it is a token who will be providing Ethereum staking services, and that is ANKR. Now I'm more bullish on RPL for the same reason. You search by ANKR in the ETH Staker subreddit, nothing shows up. Although, like RPL, ANKR had a nice little boost yesterday. Not as big as Rocketpool's, but still an over 10% 24-hour gain. So why am I bringing up ANKR? Well, they look to be getting their product out first, before Rocketpool. So user Superfizz on Reddit, he is highly involved with the Ethereum 2.0 launch. He was a part of the deposit contract stream, which I crashed slightly seen here, telling them to get staking, you fools, yesterday.
You guys are trusting. You gotta verify.
2 minutes.
That's right.
Get staking you for Hello, Chico.
Sup, Patricio of POAP and Superfizz. Good work. But regarding Superfizz, he posted this in response to one of my videos regarding staking, correcting me where I was wrong. And thanks, I actually really appreciate the post and your words, and the Chico community does too. In his post, he is bullish on Rocketpool out of all the third-party staking providers, but he did say this. Rocketpool hasn't suggested that they'll be ready for mainnet staking. It's far more likely that they'll go live after the first scheduled hard fork, about 5 months after Phase 0 launches. This is good for people who aren't deeply invested in this ecosystem. Let the early stakers take the risk, then deposit your own stake when things are safer and stable. So I hope the RPL team is able to get something out quicker than 5 months after December 1st of this year. And I do think they will, as their Mandala testnet has been running and running solid. But they haven't said anything about going live in December. While ANKR, they have Staker, their non-custodial staking service, announced 2 weeks ago. And from their blog post article, the interface is looking pretty damn clean. Well, ANKR just tweeted about Staker and the Beacon chain launch. They said to get your ETH ready. Staker deposits will be ready soon. But warning, if you are thinking about going with a third-party staking service, let's just go back to what Superfizz said in response to my video, because it fits with ANKR too. Rocketpool is an awesome concept, but it is a third-party staking provider. The reason I add caveats to it every time I mention it is that the risk of loss from operating under a third-party staking service is significantly higher than solo staking. It's obvious from my comments that I'm a fan of Rocketpool, but that doesn't take the risk away. Be careful and be prepared to lose whatever you stake with them. Let me be the first to say that I've been a fan of several projects that haven't paid out at all. So be careful with any third-party provider, ANKR, Staker, Rocketpool, or just a centralized exchange-like service like from the Nance. You never know what can happen. Cheers, I'll see you next time.